Okay, so real quick before we get into the video of completing the chassis jig build, I just want to let the Fix the Rust Bucket subscribers know I'm still here. I'm still working on videos. There was a time where I had to stop for a little while here. I think the last video I posted was probably 5 or 6 months ago. Unfortunately, 7 months ago, my 25-year career got ended by a yes man, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Somebody was hired on, they were a yes man, and my career was done. That's okay. I'm fine with that. I went to trade school years ago and always had something to fall back on, and I did. My wife, son, and I opened up a home remodeling / construction company, and I'm happy to say we are debt-free with that company right now, but it is taking a lot of our time. This has all happened within the last 7 months, probably the last 6, 7 months that we've done this. And everything's going good. Right now it's the holiday season, it's December, so Christmas is right around the corner. Kind of got a break, and it gave me the chance actually to complete the chassis jig video here. I'm still gonna be doing YouTube videos. I wasn't getting that many out to begin with anyway. I'm not one of those guys that gets about 2, 3 a week. I was getting 1 video out a month, but I'm gonna try and get at least 1 video, still get back to getting 1 video out a month. Now that you'll see in this video, the jig is complete. We're gonna get the Firebird in here, get it set up, ready to be welded to the jig, and then we can start working on the Firebird. For the ones that have stuck around and waited this many months for another video to come out, I thank you. For anybody that's new coming in, stick around, we've got a lot to come. Anybody that's new to the channel, we have 88 Ford Bronco that we've been working on, or we will be working on. The 72 Firebird that's coming in, and we did actually get a new project. We're going to be taking, I think we only made 1 or 2 videos of this car, was the Pontiac GXP. We put some coilovers on it and stuff like that. Let's get into the video building chassis jig. I'm excited, it's done. We can finally get the Firebird in the garage, get it welded to this, and start working on the Firebird. So let's get into the video building chassis jig. So this chassis jig that we're building here is going to be specifically for right now the 72 Firebird that we're going to attach to this when it's completed. Now the jig that I'm building, I kind of just came up with it on my own. There was no plans for it. I looked into what other people's chassis jigs were, but to fit for our needs here and in this garage, and the fact that I got to move the cars in and out of here, I can't have one car sitting in here for 6 months, year, or whatever. I needed to build a chassis jig that I could move around. And I needed it to be stiff, because we will eventually have the car mounted to this, welded basically to this jig, and I'm going to be rolling it in and out. So I don't want the jig in any way, shape, or form to twist around. This jig itself, we're building and setting up for any type of unibody car. Now the length of the chassis jig, the front very up there where you guys are at, all the way back to where I'm at, it's a couple of inches longer than the measurements of the 72 Firebird. We can always add or extend pieces on the ends if we need to, but I don't think we're going to need to. With that said, the way I designed this one is this back end here, the rear shackles for the leaf springs will end within 4 to 6 inches of the end of this here. And the very front will be where the core support is on that car. That car's got a lot of rust on it. I plan on getting a lot of other cars that have a lot of rust on them. We're going to have to do a lot of cutting out of sheet metal and support pieces. I don't want the car to be twisting or moving around. So with being able to mount the vehicle from the core support all the way back to the rear shackles, and then everything in between, which you'll see when we go to actually weld the car to this, you'll see we've got metal bars, square tubing to make, whatever you want to call it, feet, legs, whatever, and stretch across so we can move anywhere we want. It's just welding it on, and then when we're done with it, or we need to move it, cut it off, and weld it to a new spot. And I'll go through all the parts and tell you where I got the parts from. The metal, obviously you have to find a metal place close within proximity of where you live to pick up metal. The metal place I deal with, really good people, they deliver it to my house. I don't have a forklift or anything to get it off. I let them know that ahead of time, and I mean, it was square tubing that we ordered from them. They were cool about it. They just said their driver couldn't take it off. I told them no problem. I've got myself and one other person here. We can unload it. They delivered it right to my door. I believe when we bought this, the metal we bought to do 2 of these chassis jigs, the other one's going to be for our trucks, which we're going to be doing later on. If you were to break it down for each vehicle, the metal alone was just under $500 for the metal. I don't know what the prices are right now. I haven't looked because I don't need any more right now. Now for the wheels, I got them off of Amazon, I believe. Again, I'll leave a link in the description where I got them from. I don't have an Amazon store or Amazon link yet. Maybe I'll create one, but I'll leave a link to where I got the wheels from. Each wheel can hold up to 4,000 pounds. We'll go over them a little bit more and why I bought what I bought. Also, to level this off once the car is mounted to it, or actually before we mount the car, we'll level this off, then mount the car. I got weight jack bolts and weight jack bolt nuts, but we'll go over that as we get to that point. That's after we get the rest of this welded together. I am running just a 110 Hobart welder. I got the 035 wire in it just to help fill the welds in quicker. Now, I'll get the parts in a minute here. I did make 24 or 12. There's 24 total for each one, but 12 basically angle pieces for inside here. Again, like I said, this car needs to be able to go in and out of here in any condition it's in. So if I've got a lot of that car cut apart, I don't want in any way, shape, or form, and it might be overkill, but I'd rather have overkill than twist the car. Got all these little corner pieces cut out, and then these corner pieces will go and we'll weld them in to here, strengthening up all those corners as well. Now, I don't have a ton of height in this garage, and down the road, obviously, I do plan on getting a bigger garage somewhere. It's not happening yet, but it will happen down the road. So with that, the way I'm building this one here, I've figured in how we can add to it to lift it up higher and maybe make it a little bit easier on us. With the wheels and maybe the jack bolts, it probably will only be, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches off the ground eventually. It won't really be that high. So the top part, with the 4-inch square tubing, I might be at 14 inches at the most, not even 14 inches, but we'll be somewhere within a foot to 14 inches off the ground. And then the car, the square tubing I have, which is outside, the square tubing, I can raise the car pretty high up on the chassis jig itself. That'll give me room to get underneath the car if I need to, get underneath it there, do cutting, all that stuff. But again, we'll get into that later on when we start mounting the car. Right now, let me get this up on the side. I'm gonna get all these welded up, and then we'll get into the parts for the rest of the jig. the corners in there. I've got a ton of welding to do up and down this whole thing, top and bottom. Then I'm not going to bore you with all that welding. I'll probably just time lapse some of it. We'll jump through it, get it done. I'll show you where it's at when it's done. Then we got to drill the holes, cut the holes for these weight jack bolts and the weight jack nuts. Still have to get the weight jack nuts welded up to the bottom side of these. Then from there, let's see. After I get those attached to it, then I've got some more metal I got to cut to make the feet for all of those. So there's a lot to come still on this. I'm going to just time lapse some of this welding, and then we'll bring you back and get you caught up on where we're at. So with everything on the inside and the bottom side of the jig welded up, I have two things left to do on this side, and that is to get the weight jack nuts mounted, welded to the bottom side, drill out these holes and get them mounted, as well as get the wheels welded on. Here's the weight jack nut. The diameter here is 1 3/4 inches, and then you can see the lip there. That'll slip into the metal, and then we'll weld it up and around, holding that in place. This here is the weight jack bolt. Now you can get these either in a female or male end. I chose a female end. It's going to hopefully get me a little bit more clearance in between the car. It's a 1/2 inch drive that you can use to raise and lower these. So with the one with the female end, that is the part number from Speedway Motors. I picked up the nut and bolts from Speedway Motors. The wheels I got off of Amazon. I got two locking and 2 non-locking wheels. Each one of these wheels can handle up to 4,000 pounds, as well as these wheels are rated. They say they're rated for rolling around on concrete. And just to help out with this being inside and out, going inside and outside, it has 3 grease fittings. One down here, one up here, and then one somewhere on another one here on the wheel. Just hopefully to help keep these wheels spinning and not getting locked up. So I'll get those 4 holes drilled out for the nuts, get those welded in, we'll weld the wheels on. I could flip this over, get the holes drilled out for the weight jack bolts. I can show you a little bit more of how they work. Let me get these holes drilled out, and then we'll get everything welded on the bottom side and get this flipped over. If anybody's curious, I was asked this once before when I was working on the Silverado one time, what drill bits and stuff I was using. Been using cobalt drill bits, and I've had no problems with these bits going through metal. They cut through it like butter. That's what I'm using for pilot holes at least. And I just picked this up. I don't know how these are gonna do. We're gonna try these for the hole saws. Okay, so the whole bottom side of the chassis jig is welded on. All the wheels on all four corners are also welded on. Don't judge me on my welds, I'm not a welder. The weight jack nuts are all welded in. Now, directly on the top side here, we'll drill another hole which will accept the jack bolt to come through here on the nuts. But they're all in, two down on the other end, and the wheels. Everything is welded in, all the ends, or all the sides and corners are all welded in across the bottom. So now I'll just hit this with a wire wheel real quick. Put some paint on it. I'm not trying to make it look pretty or anything, it's just to keep the rust, keep this from rusting up. Get the wire wheel out and get this spray painted, let it dry overnight. It's pretty cold out, so we'll let it dry overnight. So like I said, I'm not looking for perfection on this. I just need something to cover up the metal to keep it from rusting or slow the rusting down. This will be constantly getting things cut off of it, welded back onto it. So we'll have to wire wheel it, sand it, whatever. And if any rust spots pop up, we'll just hit them with, clean them up, hit them with some more primer. I've been using this stuff here. It's from Lowe's. And it's been phenomenal. All their colors, the gray, I think they have gray, black, and white possibly. But I've been using this on a lot of metal and it's been working really well. This particular one is just a flat black. I'm not looking for anything fancy. So I get this can mixed up and start spraying the bottom side of this so we can get it flipped over, take care of the top side. And yes, I have all the welds across all these welds here. I have all them to do on the other side. If the metal heats up a little bit and this peels a little bit, I'll scrape it then or wire wheel it off and put some new paint on it. Okay, so the bottom is all welded up and painted. Wheels are on. Jack nuts are on and welded in. So with everything painted up, it's still pretty tacky. It's pretty cool outside right now and rainy, so it's going to take it quite some time. I'm just going to let it dry up overnight. We'll come back tomorrow and flip it over and start welding the other side. Okay, so round 2 of the welding. I've got all the welding across the top. Everything on the sides and the bottom, as you just saw, are complete. So everything across the top here, get that all welded up, get this painted, and I can start working on the feet for the jack bolts. And also we gotta get the holes drilled for the jack bolts to go through into the nuts on the bottom. So before I do that, I'm gonna hit this with the wire wheel. It's got some surface rust, just flash rust on it. Get that cleaned up, and we're gonna quickly get through. Well, you're gonna get quickly through the welding. I'm not. It's gonna take a little bit of time. All right, so with that, everything top is all welded up. Everything's been cleaned up and painted all the way around. I got the feet cut out, which I just used a piece of I-beam, drilled a hole through the middle here on all of them, which I'll show you in a minute how that goes together. 3 of them, I have the 3 of the 4 installed on there already. So we'll go over this one here. Now the weight jack bolt right there at the bottom of that, let's see, get it to clear to focus, but there's another threaded hole at the bottom of these, which will accept. I just bought some stainless steel bolts to go through there. So what we'll do is we'll slip a washer on the top side of this one here. It's the top side of the bolt. The washer is just to try and keep it to keep the foot freely spinning on the actual weight jack bolt itself. So one washer on that side, washer on the bottom side, and then when we get under the actual chassis, it will thread into that there. But it's easier to send it through, at least for this jig, it's easier to send it through the top and then screw this into the bottom. All right, so with the washer on either side of the nut here and one on the bottom side, just try and help keep it spinning. Put that off to the side for a minute here. Just drop the weight jack bolt into the nut we welded onto the bottom earlier. Spin that down. Now this is where I was talking about the 1/2-inch drive. You could just use a ratchet or an impact on it, I guess, if you wanted. It's loose and it's not bound up, so you can do it by hand. It's just these threads are really sharp, as you can see. I've already cut my thumb installing the other ones. So we'll just go ahead and thread this down all the way through to the bottom. Now with that sticking out of the bottom there, take that threaded screw to the center on the bottom and just tighten the weight jack bolt up to it. It's tight, and that's basically the installation of the feet for all 4 corners. Okay, so with the last foot installed, that completes the chassis jig build.